All right, so I want to step back on the problem that we just worked on, the factoring the x squared minus 7x plus 6. And I said I want to focus on why we see two x minus 1s in this, and when we factor it, there was only one x minus 1. So to answer that specific question, let me just look at this generically. Let's say we had AB plus CB. And if I were to ask you from the distributive rule, what you've learned, what do these two terms have in common? Well, you say, well, they both have a b, and I say, good. And if we're going to factor it out, what would be left with? And you say, oh, that would be a plus c, and that's just a form that we're shown. It's distribution thought of backwards. So instead of distributing the b in, you're factoring a b out. Now look, on this side of the equation, you see two b's, but then you factor it out, and there's only one. Well, let's back it up, or maybe move it forward. What if we had AB plus CB plus ABCD, DB. Yeah, so I just forgot my alphabet. All right, so now I have three terms, all of which share in common a B. So I say, okay, there's one B, there's two B's, there's three B's, but I'm going to factor it out front and be left with an A plus B plus C. So now there's only one B on this side. Okay, that's exactly what's happening over here. Really what we have is we have two terms, and they both have, think of this x minus 1 as your B. They have this one B in common. So when I factor it out, I get this 1 x minus 1 right here. So that's just like looking at that B right there, and then getting left with everything else. So if I had an A and a C and a D, well, it's an A, the B, and the C. So in this case, what I'm leaving by factoring out is an x and a minus 6. So what I'm hoping you see is we see two x minus 1s right here. They factor out to a single x minus 1 for the same reason over here. There's two b's and they factor out to be just a single b, or in this case there's three b's, but they factor out to be a single b. Because if you thought of it the other way around and said, well, here's an x minus 1, and what if I were to go backwards and I were to distribute this back in? Well, you would get two of these x minus 1s. All right, so that is why we're seeing two x minus 1s up in this step, but when you actually do the factor, it boils down to be just the single x minus 1.